and welcome to Coffee with Claire. Did you know that the skin is the largest organ of the body with a total area of about 20 square feet? Our skin protects us from microbes and the elements, helps reduce body temperature, and permits the sensation of touch, heat, and cold. We take our skin for granted. We expose it to the sun at the beach, we go skiing on the slopes and expose it to the cold and wind, and then we turn around and complain when we start seeing wrinkles, sunspots, and saggy skin. Even if you've never taken care of your skin, it's not too late to start. Your skin begins to age when you're only in your mid-20s, although you may not see it. Your favorite products may not work anymore. Your genes, daily habits, and the sun cause these changes. Both men and women are interested in looking young and vibrant. Our skin is our most visual piece of real estate, and when it looks good, we feel good. When it looks bad, we feel bad. Dermatologists are trained physicians that understand skin better than anyone. They all recommend daily regimens to keep your skin healthy. But what products are safe? Should I go organic? How much should I budget to spend every month? Stay tuned as we welcome back Sue Moore, who brings us a great education to help us understand in practical terms some of the most common questions and misconceptions around caring for your skin. Like to have fun on our show, and today we are thrilled to have a reoccurring guest, Sue Moore. Welcome back, Sue.
Thank you. It's great to be back with you.
Well, Sue, tell us a little bit about what's been going on since the last time we talked.
Lots.
Oh, I know.
Lots. I feel like I'm a little bit smarter.
Yay!
But just to set the stage a little bit, back in the day,
back in the day,
it was very difficult to get information about skincare and or just know what kind of skincare product to buy, because there was no technology. So people were going to either a department store or they were going to CVS or the likes back in their days.
Yep.
But today, with the online capabilities that we have, with the market has shifted in terms of, you can find out product knowledge, product fulfillment, you can grow a business, you can do just about anything online and be able, manufacturers are able to go directly to the consumer, the end user. So it makes their offerings very easy to purchase and so forth. Now, with all of that, technology is great, but it does tee up some issues in terms of customers being confused as to
there's so much information out there. It's like what's true,
what's
false,
right, and what's good for me, and so forth. So that's what we're here today to do, is to hopefully unravel and eliminate some of the confusion people have around what is best for their skin.
Yeah, because you're right. There is so much information out there, and it's a lot of it is based on selling you something rather than educating you on it. Right. And, sometimes, a lot of times it's kind of an impulse buy rather than, really understanding what you're putting on your skin and specifically your face.
Right.
So if we're here to clear up confusion, then let's get started.
Okay, great.
There's a lot out there.
Well, there's that's a great subject, and there's a long answer.
Okay.
So I'll try to be as condensed as possible. But most people, when they are thinking about buying some kinds of skincare, are confused by the Great Wall of skincare. You walk into, Bed Bath & Beyond or somewhere, it's got this huge wall, and you might find a manufacturer that's got 3 different kinds of eye cream, and you go, well, what is the difference, and how do I know what I want to do?
Exactly.
So what happens is many times is that the consumer will be so overwhelmed with the number of choices that they don't do anything and they leave because, there's a thing that says a confused mind does not act.
Right, absolutely.
And in the cases where they do purchase something, many times, not all times, but many times, the product does not work. And so they are left with flushing the money that they already spent, and their skin isn't any better. So it's just interesting. I've been doing some research on this, and what I'm finding is that most people don't understand that there is a big difference in the way product A and product B and product C are manufactured.
Oh no, how would we know?
We're
We're
wouldn't.
muggles.
You wouldn't, right? You wouldn't. You wouldn't know that. So, anyway, so that's what we're trying to take advantage of here.
So, since you mentioned there are some differences in the way the products are manufactured and put together, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Well, the two biggest differences are the quantity and the quality. Quantity and quality.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about quantity first. Okay, here we go. Okay. What that means is the percentage or the amount of dosage of a particular ingredient in a product. It's much like baking a cake.
Okay.
A cup of flour, a little teaspoon of vanilla, whatever it is. Okay, so products found in the department stores may claim to have a higher dosage of a certain ingredient, let's just say vitamin C.
Okay.
But in other words, the ingredient itself has not been stabilized. So when you use the product, yes, you feel softer or what have you, but that goes away because the product or the ingredient has not been able to get to the deeper levels of the skin.
So it just sits on top?
It just sits on top, and eventually it just goes away. So anyway, so now other products don't say anything about dosages. And so that's really kind of, does this look like, do I like the package and maybe it'll work?
Or does
kind
it
of
smell
thing.
good?
Does it smell good? Did my friend tell me to buy
Right,
it? So
right.
the old adage of what you get what you pay for. And unfortunately, the basic average consumer of skincare products has no way of knowing what is good for them and what is not good for them, unless you're a skincare junkie, and those people are few and far between. So,
Right.
so there you go. Now, what else was I going to tell you about that? I know. Go ahead. One other thing, and that is a product with a higher concentration of product will probably have a better result for you, but along with that comes a little higher price tag. And so, again, it gets back to the consumer, their skincare budget, how they know they're getting the biggest bang for their buck, and maybe if they want a product that's got a higher dosage of something and then cut back someplace else, they can. But all of that to say, they are the ones that are making the decision.
Sure.
So anyway, there you go.
So I have a question around that. So if there is a higher concentration of the, I guess the product or whatever the main ingredient is that's going to help your skin, if there's a higher concentration, does it also mean that you use less?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
not
because I have heard
necessarily.
that before. It's like, well, if there's a higher concentration, then you use less, and then maybe that was just a sales tactic that I heard.
That could have been. If there's a higher concentration, it'll work better. That's for sure. So it really depends on the company and how they embrace technology and become kind of disruptors, if you will, within the industry to bring products that never existed.
Yeah,
because they are doing some really cool things. An example of that would be hydration serum.
Okay.
Okay.
Does everybody know what hydration serum is?
I don't know, but we're going to tell them. Hydration serum.
Yes, let's.
Hydration serum it takes moisture out of the atmosphere.
Okay.
And it puts it on your face and holds it there. And so
Okay.
it's like giving your skin a drink of water is really what it is.
Okay.
Okay. So works like a charm. But now here's an example of the difference in quantity and a little bit on the quality, but we'll get to quality in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take hydration serum.
Okay.
The main ingredient in hydration serum is glycerin. And glycerin is a humectant that, as I said, draws moisture out of the atmosphere and keeps it on the skin.
Okay.
The problem with glycerin is that when you manufacture a product with more than 3%, that ingredient, in the product becomes sticky. So I don't know about you, but I don't want to pump something sticky and put it on my face, right? Okay. So we know of a company that is really a disruptor and uses technology to the highest degree of really creating some really cool products. And so what this company did was they wrapped another moisture binding ingredient around the glycerin,
Okay.
which allows the glycerin to be higher levels of hydration to the point of like 200%.
Wow, without it feeling like you
right.
got
Without
a wad of
exactly
gum on
right.
your
No
face.
stickiness. Yeah, without a wad of bubble gum on your face, you know, up to 200%, and the effect is immediate. I mean, you take a and you can feel it and you can see what it does to your face.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's really cool.
And do you put that on like before or after your regular?
That goes probably between step 2 and step 3 after
Okay.
you've washed and toned, and then you put the
Okay, and then you
Yes.
put your moisturizer on
right,
top of that.
right,
Okay.
exactly. I've been known to, in the middle of the day, if I'm feeling kind of a little dry,
Yeah.
to do it and just kind of pat a little bit around me, you know.
Okay.
So anyway, but one last thing about, about quantity, getting back to that, hydration is a good example of that. And that is, you want the customer to be able to decide where they want to spend money. So if the hydration product, let's just say, is a little bit more expensive, and that's what they really want and that's what they really need, then they can figure out, cut back wherever it is that they need to make sure they're getting the right things for them within their budget. That's
Got
the
it.
point. That's the point.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
You've talked about this really cool word of disruptor, and you've talked about innovation, and you've talked about proprietary technology. So that sounds really intriguing to me. Let's talk a little bit about that for a minute.
Okay. Well, as I said, with the way technology is today, we have got, the company that we are familiar with has scientists and researchers that take that same, for an example, that same matrix, if you will, that worked on the hydration serum. It's also been applied to a serum specifically for under the eye. So because the skin under the eye is thinner,
Yeah.
and has a tendency to show age and dryness and so forth much quicker than even the facial skin, which is also thin. And then you get dark circles under the eye and so forth. So they take the same technology and apply it to another product. So, and there's also a product with that same technology for a body hydration. So what I'm saying here is that you've got people who are thinking out of the box, pushing the edge of the envelope, and creating things that don't exist.
And they've got patents around this stuff
Absolutely.
too. So it's not like they're just pulling it out of thin air and saying, "Hey, this is going to work." They've got proven scientific
and so,
efforts
now these
around
products
it.
were probably in the formulation stage for years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now they're just coming to
the market. Yeah. So there you go.
Well, so we've talked about quantity.
Right.
Now let's talk specifically around that quantity. Or
Quality. We
quality,
talked about
sorry,
quantity.
Yeah, quantity, quality. Yeah. That these
It's
both
all the
start
same.
with
Yeah.
QU.
Yeah, right. Okay, there are basically three categories. There's certainly not all, but 3 categories that I think are a good rule to be looking at. The first is pharmaceutical grade, and a pharmaceutical grade product is highly regulated by the FDA. And what the FDA says is that the ingredients in the product have to be 99.9% pure.
Wow.
So what that means to the layman is there's not a lot of filler in there. There's no room for a filler if it's 99.9%. What is a very interesting factoid around that, though, is that in all of the skincare industry, only 5% of the companies are under the regulation of the FDA and actually manufacture pharmaceutical grade products.
Wow, only 5%?
Only 5%. That's really a big deal. It's a big
Yeah.
deal. Okay, so after pharmaceutical grade, you have medical grade,
Okay.
which is also a very high grade, and they are not required to adhere to the pharmaceutical standards. So they may or may not hit that mark, but they're still very, very good.
Okay.
It's still a very good grade for the product, as opposed to where we have is over the counter. And there's nothing wrong with over the counter. There are many medicines in prescription products that are also offered in over the counter dosages. So those are basically the three areas that products get rated, if you will. Okay, so as the buyer, you want to know, is this pharmaceutical grade? Is this medical grade? Is this over the counter? Because again, that will have something bearing on the price, and again, gives the consumer the choice that they're looking for.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't know what we're doing unless we're educated. So knowing that the pharmaceutical grade is the 5% that is 99.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's important because I don't want a lot of just junk on my face.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah,
that's a really great thing to know.
And just a tip, too, that I recently learned, while it might take a little work for the consumer to figure out what the if there's a sufficient level of a particular ingredient in a product, you need to stay away from products that only talk about an ingredient. So they might say, here's product XYZ, and it has, turbo leaves in it, whatever that is.
We just made it up here.
Made that up.
Heard it here
Okay.
first.
and if they're only talking about the ingredient, you need to stay away, because it's not just about the ingredient. It is also about obviously the ingredient, but the formulation and the application. So it has to be those three things. If they're just talking about, whatever, I'd stay away from it.
So I've got all this information now, and I want to go out and I want to change my regimen because now I'm an educated consumer. What kind of a process am I going to go through?
Good question. Some people just start with the new and there's no problem. But many people have what we call it crossover.
Okay.
And so when you start using a more premium grade regimen, for an example, your skin is going to go into kind of a boot camp. And so sometimes you might have a breakout. You might feel drier. You might feel flakier. But if you're a flake, that's okay. I didn't mean to say that.
So personality plays a part in it too. Okay.
Exactly right. And or you could get a little dry, patchy something on the skin. But
okay.
And then people will say, well, it doesn't work because my skin's getting all junky. And the reality is that your skin is rebalancing itself. So, and it shouldn't last very long. I mean, if it lasts 5 days, it's a lot.
Okay.
And so if it's longer than that, then we need to go back and revisit what it is you're actually using and how it's affecting your skin. But let me see, what else, the other thing I wanted to say about that. Oh, a good example of that, so you can kind of put it in perspective, with this being the first of the year, people are always saying, I need to get to the gym because I blew it off the last 6 months of the year and so forth. So they go to the
last 6
gym
years.
and it hurts when it hurts. They're sore.
You're right.
But they go the next day and the next day and the next day, and pretty soon they're not sore anymore and they look good.
Yeah.
So that's the same premise.
So they just kind of ramp up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's talk about it from the customer's perspective. Where are they usually coming from?
Okay. Well, first of all, customers buy outcomes.
Yeah.
They don't buy products. And that's a big, if most people in the selling business understood that, I mean, it would be a whole lot easier probably, have more sales probably, because like you said earlier, it's kind of like, well, buy my product, buy my product.
Why?
Why?
What's in it for me?
What's in it for me? So anyway, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, but I want to talk a little bit about the emotional scars that happen to people particularly with acne. And preteens, teens, menopausal women. Acne can stay with you for years and years and years, and so what you want to make sure you do is take care of it the right way. So anyway, all of that to say, people do not necessarily buy products that they don't understand how they work. They don't maybe know you and so forth. And so if they've got no history with you, what happens is they are very reluctant to spend money. They might be afraid to trigger a mistake or another breakout or something.
Or they have a drawer full of products that they've never used before.
That's overpromised and underdelivered, you know. So the second thing here is that people don't understand the buy cycle. I mean, B-U-Y, not bicycle, okay? But it's so interesting. In any given segment of the population, 1% to 2% of them are ready to buy anything you've got.
Okay.
So, and then they'll go find something else you've got and buy it because they just want to buy. The opposite side to that is the 5%ers who are never going to buy anything. So you be nice to them and so forth, but
Sure.
focus on the 93%.
Okay.
And those are people I call the NMIers, need more information.
Okay.
And so, as I said, going back, the customer is buying an outcome, not a product.
Yeah.
And so if you can sit on the same side of the table with them to find out how they can help their 15-year-old son who's got acne
Yeah.
not feel embarrassed when he goes to school, and then you can say, I can suggest this for you. That's what really helps
Oh my
make the
gosh,
sale.
yeah. And moms, they see their kids suffering so much,
Right.
they want to do anything to help them.
No,
you know, and the
absolutely.
kids don't feel all
Yeah.
that great about it either.
No,
So
exactly
you know,
right.
You're helping
Exactly
their
right.
self-esteem and
Yeah.
everything else. So, well, given everything we've talked about, how can we help our viewers get further information as it relates specifically to them?
Okay. Again, using technology, we are familiar with a tool that you answer some questions. It takes about 45 seconds. It's a quiz, and it'll give you expert advice and tell you exactly what you need to have. Two really good things here. First is they give you an AM and a PM regimen.
Okay.
And you use this product first, then this product, then this
So it's a
product.
step-by-step process.
Step-by-step, so you
Okay.
take all the confusion out of
Yay.
it. Okay.
I can follow directions in
I can
print.
follow directions. Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes,
that's a
yes.
second grade level skill.
Right. And as I said, people are reluctant to spend money. So that's very important. The second thing that's really very important is that let me see, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, it's the best part. Let's see. Okay. People sometimes will come back with samples. Samples don't work because it took your skin years to get where it is. So what you want is something that'll give you a money-back guarantee. And so if you use a tool, tells you what you need, you take pictures at day 1, at day 30, and at day 60. And then at day 60, it's kind of like Chip and Joanna at Fixer Upper because they pull back the screen and you can look at your face before and look at your face after.
Yeah, that's a
and
great
you can
idea.
see
The big
the big
difference,
difference
yeah.
because we won't remember.
Yeah.
We won't remember.
So we've made available to our Coffee with Claire viewers and listeners the ability to access the tool that you have spoken about.
Right.
And so if you go to the Coffee with Claire website, coffeewithclaire.tv, and enter in on the subject line, send me the tool, we will email you the tool that Sue has referred to, and in 45 seconds you can figure out exactly what your skin needs for your skin type.
Correct.
Right?
Perfect. Yes.
So, Sue, thank you so much for being here today.
great to be here.
We really appreciate all your wealth of knowledge, your passion for taking care of people and educating them on their skin, not just trying to sell a product, but actually sell them something that they can use and it's going to make them feel good and look good. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you tuning in to Coffee with Claire. And again, tune in next time. We'll see you then. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Coffee with Claire. To learn more about today's guests, visit their website or find them on Facebook. To learn more about me, Claire Billingsley, follow me on LinkedIn or visit my website at coffeewithclaire.tv. And to hear more episodes of Coffee with Claire, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast and social media platforms.